recording, and welcome to Troubleshooting Minecraft. So if you want to jump in first, Stephen, and introduce yourself, what's your relationship to Minecraft, if people don't already know, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Stephen Payne. I'm based in Western Australia, and I used to be a maths teacher, but the last about 4 years I've been working as a consultant with schools and universities. Done a lot with Minecraft, both when I was teaching and in the last few years. And I started up last year a Minecraft Innovation Network with WA schools. So we've got about 30 schools that are sharing ideas, and we used to get together every few weeks, but haven't done that for a few months now. But there's some really great stuff happening in schools, and that's just the stuff I get to hear about. I know there's loads more happening that doesn't make it to the surface. So yeah, I've done a fair bit of troubleshooting, so should be able to help out with some questions. Thanks. Great.
Thanks, Stephen, and thanks for coming along today. That's great. Matthew.
I'm a primary school teacher in Victoria. We've just been having a bit of a play with Minecraft, but for the last however many weeks since we've been remote learning, we haven't really done a lot. We've had a few connection issues, obviously. I think it's been a common theme. So just looking a bit late in the game, but to try and work it out and hopefully use it in the future anyway, remotely.
Cool, great. Brian.
Hi there, I'm Brian. I actually am a teacher who works at a special needs school in just outside Melbourne. We've been using Minecraft quite a bit here and there, and we really wanted to be using it during this remote phase, but we had so many problems, not only getting students to join, but staff as well. So we've sort of put it on hold, and then I think as of next week when we're back on site, we're going to be using it a whole lot more.
Cool, that's good to hear. Well, not good to hear that you had connection issues, but hopefully we will be able to solve some of that. And if we can solve those problems when and if we do need to go more online, or if we want to include an online component in full-time face-to-face teaching, I think we really need, now is a good time to solve that. Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon. I teach at the same school as Matthew, Banyule Primary School, northern suburbs of Melbourne. And yeah, so we're pretty passionate about Minecraft, and we've been doing lots in our class, and we have a Minecraft club and that sort of stuff at school. But you know, all this sort of stuff that's happened is sort of put a spanner in the works, and we've tried running sessions remotely, and to some success, but also lots of issues as well. So it'd be interesting to talk some of those tech issues out if you guys have the expertise.
Cool, great. And David. We're not hearing you.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yep. All right, I'm David. I'm from Sandringham Primary, so we're based in Bayside. And my journey is I got introduced to Minecraft by a consultant who just did a bit of a session with our school. And then from then on, it was up to us to take it further. So I sort of networked out. And luckily enough, I teamed up with a great Minecrafter of Stephen Alford, who sort of taught me under his wing and, you know, pointed me in the right directions. So from there, I've up-leveled our staff and other teachers in our Bayside network. And then from then on, just keep networking. So I've just reached out and found those people to network with and learn from and continue my journey.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Karen. You're muted.
Hi, sorry. I just jumped on at the end of that question. I assume you're just asking who we are.
Yes.
So I'm Karen. I teach computer skills to 3 to 6, and I'm our IT integrator, and I do robotics year 3 through to year 12 as an extracurricular. My Minecraft journey, I can't remember when I started. I've had my kids go through it. I taught it with students, and we tried to build something a couple of years ago, but Minecraft wasn't up to what my students wanted to do with it, which was to rebuild a gold field game that Grey Gum had built, and but we got stuck eventually, and the end of the year came, so I haven't picked that one up again yet. So we tried to get Bron to help us. She was great, but we got stuck.
Well, I think the thing there is the answer to every technical problem is not Minecraft.
Yes, well, that's true.
Because it
You're
probably,
actually right. Yes.
it wasn't the right tool for what you were trying to do, because your kids had much bigger ambitions in terms of game design than I think was capable at that time with Minecraft. So,
but but I think it's capable now, but I just haven't checked it out.
yeah. Luke.
Yeah, so I'm Luke. I'm basically a network manager for Warringah Park Special Needs School. I'm working with Brian on this. I've just come along for today's session just to have a look around and sort of see what it's about. We've just got a few. We've tried to implement it sort of during this lockdown period. We've had a few little issues here and there, but we're just sort of trying to discuss and work out solutions where we could get our students working a little bit easier than what we've been trying to do now.
Cool. And I do have an apology from Stephen O'Callaghan, who is at Ivanhoe Primary, but he's hosting a digital tech curriculum meeting that he's the chair of, so he really couldn't not show. But he has passed on some things, and he has some solutions. So we're hoping the tech person from Ivanhoe actually will either join us or be able to post a comment on the video to tell us some of the solutions they've found. So I like solutions. Solutions are good. I have a few slides just with where we can find solutions, and I'm tossing up whether we should do that first or get straight into problems and what we want to do to solve them, or what we might do to solve them. So how do people feel? Do you want to get straight into the questions people have? Because the slides are really, where else can we find answers? You know, what's out there? Because there is a great deal of resource provided by Microsoft that helps us.
I think show them, Bron, and then we can refer back to them.
Okay, it's only a quick thing, so yeah, I think I just wanted to check if people were time pressured. It's probably 5-10 minutes worth of your time to do that bit of it. Okay, let me just get that up.
Just while you're doing that, Bron, I'm just going to change who I'm logged in under in Teams, because there's multiple accounts. So I just want to swap back to my school one for a minute. So
now I've got to work out what I've just done. I'm not sharing what I wanted to share, sorry.
What are you doing that?
Just about.
Okay. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing on screen at the moment.
Yeah, your PowerPoint.
Okay, good. So if I've had a problem with this, when I go to play the slideshow, it doesn't show. So tell me if you actually see the slideshows as a slideshow, because it was, yeah?
Yep.
Looks good.
Okay, great. So this is a conversation, and I wanted to remind people that any of these conversations we've had on Wednesdays that I've hosted, I'm just cutting them up and putting the answers to questions on a YouTube channel just to make them available. So that's what we'll be doing with today's, you know, if there's specific technical questions. I'll try and chunk them up into bits that make more sense for people than having a huge long video. There is also a 3-minute survey on teachers' remote use of Minecraft, and it's not just for teachers; it's for kids and for parents. So, you know, I'd be really pleased if people would share that out. It's just to get a sense of what people felt who did use Minecraft remotely. What was their sense of it, and what do they think might have made a better situation for them? And these slides I will also link on with the YouTube videos, so that if you want to use them with anybody, then they're there. I think this particular group that's assembled probably doesn't need these slides, but you may have people in your network who do. So yes, what I wanted to say as well is that we probably can't answer everything in this one session, but what I will do to honour the questions that people have, if myself or Stephen or Megan, who's going to join us in a little bit, can't answer it, we'll undertake to see if we can find you an answer. So we'll take it from there. And what's out there is kind of important because Minecraft has really provided some good resources in terms of remote teaching and learning, but I don't know that everyone knows they exist. So the first one of those is the multiplayer game guide, which is quite comprehensive and very recently updated. And that's a PDF file that can be downloaded from the site. And I'll put all the links to these in the chat in a minute when I get out of presentation mode. So that's a very useful document to share with staff because it does go through everything from the requirements for getting multiplayer going and then some troubleshooting, through to some troubleshooting. We can't solve every problem right here, right now, because as we know, and you guys will know as greater tech experts than me, that between the home connection and the host connection is a myriad of things going on in terms of IT, connectivity, NBN, whatever you've got going on in your home. And I think it was a good reminder there from Kyle on the Microsoft site that there's also antivirus, firewall, and all those other things going on in independent home networks that we don't know or have any control over. And then some people have found technical solutions. I know indeed a school in New Zealand that has found a way to host a persistent server so that the server runs from a teacher's computer 24/7. And that's been a really interesting piece of work that they've nutted out that problem so that the students could be in the world at lots of different times. The Minecraft knowledge base is another great place to ask a question, and it is fairly responsive. I mean, most questions that are there have had a response from either someone in the community or someone in the Microsoft team within days, if it's a question that actually has an answer. And so I've found actually searching remote learning has brought up a whole lot of pages, articles, and other resources that are very supportive. And if you know a solution, then, you know, like it's a you know, a pay it forward situation. If you see something on there that you can assist with, then it's beholding on each of us to actually jump in and let people know, you know, what you've discovered. So that's a fairly important space. And it's a good search engine. It does pull up a whole lot of goodies. And I follow a number of discussions on there. So that's another useful way to keep an eye on what's being updated. But then some requests should raise pedagogical issues. And for me, this is a big one. Just because a teacher or an educator asks for it of Microsoft, is it really a feature we want? And this one kind of bothered me because it was someone asking, and it's nothing against the particular person, because I've heard other teachers say it, that they're concerned about children being able to host multiplayer games on their own volition, and that they're concerned about that. Now, for me, as the pedagogy of Minecraft is what excites me. The sociability of Minecraft is what excites me. This warms my heart. The kids can start, you know, opening up a world and inviting friends to come in and play. But there are educators who are worried that that's beyond their control. And I think there's a mindset issue with this question. So it's less a technical question to me than it is a pedagogical question. So I'm just flagging that because that's my little hobby horse. I don't think children need 24/7 supervision. If you're hosting a world in Minecraft, then you are responsible for the activity in that world while you're hosting it. But you have no control over children hosting worlds for each other children working remotely, children organising a play date with friends, a family of kids playing together, and neither you should. Perhaps it's open for discussion, but that's my perspective on it. There's a really nice blogger out there, Samuel McNeil, who's done some work on the remote learning connectivity and unpacked some of the issues around configurations and port forwarding. And this was pointed out by David on the call, David Jones, in our Teams discussion. And I had a look at it, and I think it's a really good piece, which links out to a few good resources. He has updated it, as you see, the 8th of April, but it was originally posted at the start of this COVID issue. So some good stuff there. And then Port Forward itself, having a look here, some really good instructions on what to do and how to do it, if that's what you need to do. And I'm only flagging this because I've had a number of questions from teachers. What is port forwarding? How do you use it? Is it something I as a teacher can do, or is it something I need the IT team to take a look at? And so I wanted to flag that up if people are wondering, well, what is this port forwarding, and why do I need it? And so then we can come back to questions. I do have a couple of questions that I've pulled out of the discussion spaces for our Victorian project and some others that have come up across the internet. So I might kick off one that we can start talking about to see where it leads us. So that first question is about irregular problems joining worlds. Now I know Julie from our Victorian teaching project had issues where she was seeing students able to log into a world that she initiated, that she hosted, and the next day they couldn't. And some kids who could get on couldn't get on, and kids who couldn't get on one day were getting on the next. And it seemed very erratic. So that's probably one of the first things I want to raise about logging in to the whole Minecraft shared world situation. So anyone got any ideas on what could be causing that? I did see in the knowledge base, there was a comment to a similar question, and someone had suggested that perhaps the kids had not actually completely logged out of Minecraft, hadn't closed down Minecraft, and for some reason the connection from the previous day or the code had carried over from the previous day or something to that effect. But I have no idea for that, and I have heard it from more than one teacher. Has anyone else seen that issue where kids could get on one day and then not the next?
This is my main issue.
Yeah. So you go, Matt.
So this is the main issue I've been facing with. I even tested this afternoon, and 4 or 5 kids could get on, no worries, and then some kids it just wouldn't allow them. But there'd been kids that had been in previously days before. So it's just, yeah, it's one of the really big unknowns, and I'm not sure why it's doing it either.
Just to add to that as well, I had a class social gathering today on Minecraft, and I had about 8 students who were able to connect, and my game actually crashed. So I closed it, opened it up again, rehosted, and all of those students again the same students couldn't join. So it wasn't even over multiple days. It was the same day, 5 minutes after a crash, it didn't work any longer.
Yeah, I had those issues last year too, and then Classroom wouldn't connect either. So we would shut everything down and start again, and eventually it would work.
So Stephen, is this something you're hearing?
Not that specific one with the same students not being able to get in. Is this both remotely and on the same network? Are you seeing it both times?
Just remotely, different networks.
Yeah. I know until really this year, whenever you contacted the Minecraft team, they'd say we don't really support connecting remotely, and I think part of that was because there have been issues, but it's generally those things that Bron mentioned. It's the as long as the host has got port forwarding set up and you've turned off antivirus. is another thing. But I don't know why that would affect some in the morning but not in the afternoon. That's a puzzle to me, and it's not something I've come across. I've found people that haven't been able to connect, but I haven't had that one where they've been able to connect one day and not the next.
Yeah,
So
or the same day even. Yep.
Simon, did your students completely close out Minecraft? So quit Minecraft altogether?
So they did both. They once I started the game up again, I got them to try rejoin, and they couldn't rejoin. So I said, okay, close the game. Let's all try again, because I know some of the advice is that it should be the first world you join. It should be that. So yeah, they closed it. They opened it up again. I even refreshed the code and that sort of thing, and they still couldn't join. So even though nothing had really changed, the game crashed, and then I reopened it, and yeah, they just couldn't join. But I'm having lots of other sort of issues with it, to be honest. Yeah, it's been
well,
tough.
that particular one bothers me because I know everyone who's on this call is fairly technically experienced. It's that sort of problem that would concern, the novice teacher trying to get Minecraft going if it has this kind of irregular problem. If you get on, I know this is Julie Powell brought this up in a call a couple of weeks ago, where her kids were online. They had a fabulous session. Some kids couldn't get on, but that was okay. She was chatting to them in another tool, and they were discussing something. And but then when they tried to join the next day, the kids who had been on couldn't get on. And she tried troubleshooting it from all different angles and couldn't get anything to happen. If this is not a question we can solve here, that's cool. We'll take it back to corporate and see what their best advice is on how to proceed. But it just bothers me that this will be a turn off for novice teachers in terms of using it as a remote teaching tool. Yeah.
And I think still, I know it's not the nicest answer, but my answer to teachers is don't try this remotely if you're not quite familiar with it, because there are so many kind of problems that can come up remotely. I think it needs to be a bit smoother for it to be a kind of universal option.
Yeah, you have to have alternatives. I don't think we're there yet in a space where it can be the compulsory activity. And I've seen some nice alternatives where teachers have had a Zoom meeting going, and the Minecraft space, and the kids who couldn't actually get into the Minecraft space are assisting the teacher to do the task with a shared screen back from the teacher's computer. So some ways to help do it, but it's not the friendliest of things. And I think it's something, that intermittent problem is the worst of any, because you just don't know, are we getting on today or aren't we?
And that was my problem, and it was on campus last year when I had that issue. And in saying that, it was fourth term last year. So we haven't used it this year, and I haven't used it remotely, I have to say. But my plan was, if we were still being remote from school the second half of this term, I was going to use it as part of my, because we've been doing cyber safety, how to stay safe, and then Minecraft was kind of the world we were going to build after finishing our cyber safety things, because it was an online world that was safe to the skills they'd learned in a world. And so that's why I was interested in this call, because I wanted to hear if it was working or not remotely.
Yeah, well, some people have had good success with small groups, but as I say, it still has that intermittent problem. Simon, you mentioned other problems. Do you want to throw one out in the mix?
Sure, I've had lots. It's for some reason recently my games just started crashing, so I've had to use another computer. So my regular computer that I've been using, it just crashes after joining a server after a minute or so, and it's happening every time. And it's a decent computer. It runs really modern games and that sort of thing. It shouldn't be technical. It shouldn't be it's hardware. Something got, and I've tried reinstalling it and all that sort of stuff. I filed tickets with the wiki or the tech support, and they haven't really been able to help. I've had other issues just in terms of the network stuff, hosting and kids not just being able to join. It's usually like one of my students, he can join every time. He's only one of my students has been able to join every session, but nobody else. And I wonder if it speaks more to their end, or what's happening with their router or their firewall or something. I've opened my ports and all that sort of stuff, but it might also be on the joiner's end, I suppose, which obviously is too much to ask a kid to do. So this might just be not, might not be able to do this until we're back at school.
Yeah, we can't control what's on the client computers or how their connectivity runs, or what issues are in place. I know some of the people in this call, Stephen, were in an event at the Docs Library in Melbourne before pre-COVID, and we had blindingly fast internet, and everyone could get onto Minecraft, and then we went on to doing shared worlds, hosted worlds, and we couldn't because the network had precluded peer-to-peer connections. And so we had everything in place and had tested everything, but that one thing was there that we couldn't. And you could see the world, you could use the code, but you couldn't get in. And so that's one technical issue we became aware of that we didn't know before that date.
And it's been just very. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say I have heard some of the settings. There's like products that families buy for family safety and stuff, and I've found that Minecraft has got caught up when I've delved into what the families. It's been the ones that have got those secure things. It's blocking this Minecraft traffic. Is another thing that you can't really control without going around every student.
Definitely, yeah.
Is that also because of the age restriction on it when you buy it like through the App Store or something like that?
I don't know that it is.
I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I just thought it might have been a weird thing if you've got a home safety thing that the parents have said, well, if it's not for this age range, you can't use it.
But parents may not be aware that some setting they've made on their system is preventing it as well. So they've bought a package, they probably don't even know what it precludes. But if we could have advice to say check these things, that would be very useful, I think, for parents. That leads me to, I'm going to show another slide, which is a question from one of our teachers, and she's been not able to connect. Let me just get the slide up because I put it on a slide. Sorry. Just got to grab the right thing. So I'm hoping you're seeing my screen.
Mm-hmm.
And she's seeing this. So it lets her put in the code that gives her the name of the person that the world belongs to. So she's trying to join a student world, and then this comes up. And she's tried doing everything and tried from other tools, other devices, and is still getting this unable to connect. Now, from memory, this was the same error we saw at the Docs Library. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if it's the same error, but this is what the most common error I'm having as well. So the persistent one is happening a lot, but this is happening with 3/4 of my class. I think they're on different occasions they're not able to join.
So one of my students today tried to join, who is probably more tech savvy than me, actually screen recorded the error coming up when he was trying to join. And it ends in this. So he entered the join code and found my name in the world to join, and after a minute of loading gets this. So this is what they're seeing.
Okay, so I'll let you, they're saying the same, unable to join world.
Even though they can find the world with the join code, that's what they're ending up at.
Yeah, so can I just add something to this? So our testing was, we're seeing the exact same thing from our end. Now I've got a server set up, I've set up port forwarding, absolutely everything. It works from my connection. My connection at home has a direct IP out to the internet. So as in the IP, my computer is showing to the internet is my true IP. Another fellow teacher that we were sort of working with, he's using a more cheaper ISP who use a technology called CGNAT. Basically, they NAT their own network within their own internal network. So you end up with sort of two IPs. You end up with an ISP IP, and then you end up with an IP that's being presented to the internet. That IP presented to the internet could be shared among, I don't even know how many customers across the board. If you're using that CGNAT, if your ISP is using that CGNAT, we have not had any success. If you're using one of the sort of the higher end ISPs, I'm using Exitel, but I had to specifically ask for a direct IP. I know that companies like Superloop, Aussie Broadband, Telstra all give you a direct IP, but companies like Belong, which is Telstra's budget arm of budget ISP, all their connections are behind that little CGNAT system. They will not work. There is nothing we could do to make that work. So that was our experiences from my end, and I could almost see it happening because the IP address presented to our system was different from everything else.
How would you go about checking if you have a unique IP or if you have one of these shared-ons?
Well, the only way we could tell from Belong is we actually went through their own knowledge base and actually found it, and found something linking that says it's there. I'm with Exitel at home, and in their control panel there was an option to apply for a direct IP, and I just used the excuse that I was running my own server. And once I changed that, I found it have a lot more success.
Mm. But so yeah, every student that we're trying to get in, they would have that same issue if they have it's an ordinary ISP.
And parents aren't going to know the difference. They're going to go for the cheapest option, And the odds are we're not going to. There is an IP shortage problem. There is a reason why ISPs do this, but your higher end ones will allow for a direct IP, but mainly because you're paying a little bit more.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
It's a little bit higher end, but that was from our testing.
Yeah. Well, end to end, there's so many things in the way, isn't there, that we need to understand better.
And is that issue with the cannot connect to world, is that on various platforms?
Well, I think we were using a Mac, a PC, and an iPad. From my end, I could connect on absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But the other teacher who was with Belong just had no hope. It didn't matter what we did, we just couldn't make it connect. So we tried codes, we tried direct IPs, and we just didn't have any luck at all.
So the usual version of Minecraft, like the Java edition or something like that, I assume they function normally, regardless of what ISP you have. Is there something that Education Edition has in it that is preventing that? Is that something that can be fixed?
Well, going back to years ago, I was using the vanilla JavaScript Minecraft. We were using dedicated servers, and I don't think the dedicated servers have the same issue. Yeah. I think the issue comes from the way Microsoft implemented their multiplayer on the education version. So
100%. And they actually, because we were doing this in WA, we had one of the teachers in a department school had actually set up a virtual server, and the Minecraft team have actually turned that off now, so you can't host it. It's they hosted it on. You could buy space and host it a world. Now you have to set up a virtual server, like Bron was saying, and leave it running 24/7. They said the Minecraft team have said they will look at that in the future, because that certainly will solve, I think, all of these problems. If you can, even if you have to buy a virtual place or something and leave it running, that's what you do. That's what we did in the old days before Minecraft Education Edition. So hopefully that will come soon, and then we won't need to have these discussions.
Philip's just asked a question. Philip, do you want to take the microphone?
Yes. Yes, just depending where you live, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So just a quick question. So just, I don't know if I can see. Okay, hold on.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Do you want to introduce yourself first, Philip? So we.
My name is Philip Rustamov, and I work for Westminster International School in Tashkent in Uzbekistan. So our school is closed, and just we have a great interest to use Minecraft. Everyone knows, and everyone excited to use this. And I jumped to this bandwagon and introduced to my students, and they're really excited. We really wanted to build our world, our virtual, actually literally virtual school inside Minecraft, with the school and classes, and but we were having problem. We couldn't join. My students can join me. So that I started having problem. I did all kinds of things. I contacted my ISP, and I did the port forwarding. Nothing worked, actually. Nothing worked. So I'm just wondering what else. So I just searched no IP option. I set up the account with them, and I'm in the process of working on that and see how it works. So I was just wondering if anyone used any other alternative, any other ways to solve this issue, solve this problem. It could be, as Luke said, it could be the issue with my ISP at home, but I haven't tried at my school though. So my next to-do list is call my ISP, see if they have any option to give me a dedicated IP. So that's my case.
Yes.
Megan Towns has just joined us, and just to bring you up to speed, Megan, we've just been talking through some of the error messages that people have had and the connectivity issues. Not necessarily finding any solutions, but we're certainly finding things to troubleshoot along the way. And it's just been raised that some ISPs don't give a dedicated IP address. And if you're a shared IP, that could be what's getting in the way of kids connecting. So, and Philip has just said he's tried everything and has asked the question, has anyone used no IP, which I have no idea about. So
now we can look at that.
Has everyone seen Sam McNeil's blog about connecting?
Yeah, I posted the link to it. Which
did that work?
David shared. That was the port forwarding.
Yeah, that was, and it's been updated as of 8th of April.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, Philip, if you've seen that. I posted the link in the chat. It's blogger Sam McNeil's post on Remote Learning with Minecraft edition. It's in the chat, so all the links to the things are in the chat. But you might be beyond that if you've tried lots of other things.
Yeah.
Someone else was going to speak. Sorry, I think I might have cut someone off there.
I was going to share. Sorry, Bron. I was going to share that I have done success through VPN. So I've got a VPN at home that's got a Australian connection, so I can connect, and that's given me a dedicated IP.
Okay.
So that's that's something that could be an option to try if your IP keeps changing. And through that VPN company, they've got a stagnant straight IP address. And I've worked it and I've only tested it with 2 or 3 students, but it did work.
So is it only the dedicated IP that you need for the host end?
I'm not sure on that end, but it works on my end because that's through the VPN.
Okay.
When I check the IP address each time through that Melbourne server, it's the same IP address every time.
Okay.
So that might be an option. It could be worth trying, is trying it through a VPN software. Yeah.
Is that an option you have, Philip?
Yes, I do have ExpressVPN. It didn't work even with my VPN, but I'm in the process. I'll be doing more troubleshooting. Maybe I'll try again, see if it helps.
So even before you get to the IP address, and I mean, this is all written up really well in terms on the Microsoft site, is making sure that everybody's the trip over is making sure everybody's on the same version. of Minecraft for a start. And I think that's one of the things that's caught up a few people, because they've assumed kids were on the latest version at school, then they go home and they're using a different device at home, and the children may have already been playing Minecraft or using Minecraft at home, not necessarily with the latest version. So there's that to start with. What other things can we be pointing people towards in their troubleshooting?
I think personally, I might look into, like Philip was saying, like a persistent world or server, something down that road, because like there's just so many sort of technical problems, and it's we can't assume that all kids have the technical ability to be able to sort of troubleshoot these things. So if there's another way to do this that's a bit simpler for just the average user, I think yeah, that's what I'm going to look at.
I do know a school in New Zealand has managed to crack that with Minecraft Education Edition to run a persistent server, because their school has run 24/7 servers in other versions of Minecraft prior to Education Edition. And I can find out, see if I can find out what they put in place to do that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Someone from the school might join, because they've been on this call before, but they're not here today. They're back.
Is it Sam McNeil's old school? Which school is it?
Sorry?
Do you know which school it is? Is it Sam McNeil's old school?
Marion Mamstrom in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
I've got a colleague in WA who's running a persistent server who could come on a future call and explain what he's done.
Cool.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
But yeah, it's not as we've discussed, it's not really set up for this, but we can keep persisting. We can get it to work.
Well, if we don't keep trying, we won't solve it. You know, if we aren't getting on the edge to see how it connects and how well we can use it, then we won't ever solve the problem.
Yeah. But we also keep pushing the Minecraft team to make it so it works. We shouldn't have to do all these workarounds.
Shouldn't have to hack it to make it easy. And the cloud world's hosting has been talked about for a long time, and I'm wondering whether COVID may have actually forced them to make that happen a lot faster. But we can only live in hope for that one. And yeah, in the meantime, it would be nice to get some clear instructions. Like the Minecraft PDF, like the Minecraft team's PDF document is okay, but I still think it's, give that to the average parent to help their kid get that set up at home, and they'll probably freak out a little bit and be like, I can't do that. So yeah, need to try and make it easier.
Well, if I was a new teacher starting out with and seeing port forwarding and all this technical complication, I would be very concerned.
Sorry, my dog's trying to break in.
Oh, my dog is cool.
Bron would totally welcome that.
I have 4, so.
Nice.
So, what other problems are people having?
Just that. It's been the barrier that I haven't been able to run anything because of all the connection issues. So, that's the only thing I've really encountered.
So in my case, I'm looking at another option right now. It's called Learn to Mode. They're offering free Minecraft servers for teachers in COVID-19 closure. And I just signed up, and I have I don't know everything. I just signed up and I just started. I was just wondering if anyone used the Learn to Mode service. It's similar, just helps kids to do the coding through the Minecraft. So it seems like interesting service.
I think in terms of the coding, there's a lot you can still be doing in single player without the multiplayer experience. So, I don't think a lot of what we've discussed necessarily precludes getting into the coding aspects of Minecraft. I don't know.
Minecraft for me was just a social space really at the moment. I've used it in class for more sort of connected to the curriculum. But for this whole home learning program, it's just been a social time, because a lot of my kids in my grade are not seeing anybody else outside their immediate family, and some of them are immediate only children as well. So it's just been a chance for them to sort of talk. So that's just that was my purpose, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely, Simon. I think that was a really great place to start, because that's the biggest thing they're missing, not being at school, is the sociability of school. And Minecraft offers a place to have that. That's why I was shocked at that request on the Minecraft knowledge base for people to stop kids hosting their own worlds to each other and having, play dates and hangouts and organising their own social activities, because I think that's part of the richness that is Minecraft, and I would hate to see that something put in place to turn that off.
I think that just comes from a lot of fear from teachers that they'll be held responsible for it, because we've had similar issues. Well, teachers bring up conversations about things like Google Hangouts and can we block them from doing it? And it's the fact that if they want to communicate, they'll communicate, whether it's through our platform or another. So what are we really achieving?
Exactly. Discord use has gone up just as much as Zoom and Teams and Google use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion in previous calls that teachers need to be aware, when you host a world and invite the kids to come in, you're responsible for that world. You're there as the host, as you would be if you were hosting a party. But if kids are hosting a play date with their mates, then you're no longer responsible. And that's something I think may be difficult for some parents to understand, that, the kids can be doing work for school that's not necessarily with their teacher. They may be working on a joint project, they may be doing something social together, whatever. And I don't think we should necessarily be frightened of it, because it is inside their tenancy with Minecraft Education Edition. It's not like they're connecting with some randoms. And so I think there's a lot there we have to better explain to parents in terms of who the kids could be connecting with.
And changing the conversation to, like, we've had a couple of instances where students haven't done the right thing in Microsoft Teams during the COVID time. And we've actually turned the conversation back on to the relevant school or department or diocese, whoever we were talking to say, what would have happened if that happened in real life? Like if a student turned on their screen and done something inappropriate. If they did something inappropriate in the classroom, they'd have to face consequences. Don't blame the tool, blame the behaviour.
Yeah.
And if students are choosing to have a play date, that's innocent behaviour. If they're choosing to use Minecraft to go find other kids and bully them, that's not innocent behaviour and should be dealt with in the usual behaviour management strategies the school has. And thankfully, due to all the logs and stuff that happen in the background, because they are in their tenant, they can track who's who and where at what time. So it's still a very safe place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think changing that behaviour story, or making that behaviour story come into the digital space as much as it is in the physical space.
Yeah, and investing in that digital citizenship and understanding the forms of online behaviour is really an important aspect to this. Not a technical one, but obviously one that parents need to know, kids need to know, teachers need to know. That we have acceptable norms. And if we haven't had that conversation with kids, then they're automatically bringing the norms of Fortnite, Call of Duty, or other games they play into Minecraft. And we all know, all of you are probably gamers, you have a different way of behaving in certain games, within certain communities of different games. And, that's how life is. Teachers have to have established what the norms are, and parents have to establish what's acceptable for their family norms in terms of using Minecraft.
That's why I do that cyber safety unit before I let you three into Minecraft. And that way, hopefully you establish that something is going to guide that behaviour, so you can keep using it as the years go up, and you don't have to keep reimagining those conversations all the time. You're just dealing with bad behaviour as you would if a kid was using a pea shooter in the classroom in the old days, it's the correct, but it's the appropriate use of technology, not banning it because they've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And adopting a teachable moment because they're kids.
Yeah,
You know,
they're kids. That's right.
they do things in the
adults do it
playground.
wrong.
They have a bit of a biff or push someone over or something happens, and we deal with it. There are repercussions, and the kids learn that. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but we have to deal with it. We have to deal with the teachable moment of it.
It's that whole cotton wool thing again, isn't it? Wrapping our kids up in cotton wool so they don't learn anything, and they don't learn to take risks either then.
Yeah, but it's that question was asked about putting in a preclusion for kids to host their own worlds, and there's a number of teachers who've come in and supported that proposition. I hope Microsoft takes that one seriously because that's really worrying.
Ever since I've run Minecraft workshops, and Stephen can probably attest to this as well, the first thing many teachers ask is, can we stop them from making their own worlds? No, you can't, and you never will be able to.
And why would you want to?
I don't know. Breaks my
It's
brain.
It's called micromanaging.
Yeah. Anyway.
Fear of letting go.
We have another issue that teachers in our Victorian project raised, and I'm just going to ask Stephen and Megan if you've come across it in your specific spheres of influences. But teachers have found a barrier to implementation within the school was the updating process. I'll just read this piece. When Microsoft update, they don't inform the users. Teachers and students often don't find out that there's compatibility issues until they're trying to start a lesson, that some have updated and some haven't, and it's not the best time to find out when you're about to start a lesson.
I made that rookie error last year.
That is that is probably the only school-based issue we have.
Yeah, so we find in a managed or in a modern managed device environment from a Microsoft perspective, and that can include Macs or iPads as well. So if a school is using our modern management tools in School Data Sync and what's the other things called, Azure and Intune for Education, all that sort of thing, they can actually control the updates of all apps on their devices. And so then the administrators know when the update for Minecraft comes in, and they choose then when to push that update out. However, it depends on your school or your department or your diocese whether that is actually managed. And if you're in a BYOD environment, you've got no choice anyway because the students are managing their own updates. So I think it'll always be a problem when collaboration requires everyone to be on the same version.
I would just say for most of the times when I go into schools and work with students, I would say 90% of the time I'll look for an activity where students can work individually on their own device or in small groups on one device. For some of the reasons that we've discussed already today. Obviously, the collaboration is amazing and awesome, but if you want an easy life, sometimes you can rewrite what you're trying to do and get the same outcomes with students not necessarily being virtually in the same world, but physically in the same world. So it's just that can help to alleviate the anxiety of new teachers as well.
Sort of step them into the experience from individual use then to the collaborative use. Yeah. But where there's a will, there's a way. Kids will want to collaborate straight away. So version. But I think I harp on that in my first 15-20 minutes. Same version. Check that number down the bottom right of your screen.
Yes. And often people have already got past that first screen, so you have to take one back to get to where they can find it. So, on that issue, what tricky ways in terms of using Minecraft remotely have you found? Like, what other tools are you using alongside it to keep kids who can't get on in the loop of what's going on? Or have there been activities you could do with some kids in Minecraft and kids not?
We've been using Google Meets to have daily meetings and conferences, and so we just continued using that. So we when it's a Minecraft time of the week, we'll join the Google Meet for a meeting. We'll chat as we play for those students who can get on, and for those students who can't, you can share screen and you can all that sort of stuff too.
So do you think the voice channel makes a difference?
I think personally, it can be really messy because if you have a lot of students, like today I had 7 or 8, I think, joined, and that's already pushing probability the limits, having 8 people in a chat, and mum's in the kitchen making a sandwich or something as well. So that
vacuum's
really,
going.
Yeah, vacuum's going. So it can be hard, but I mean, it certainly adds a bit. It's kids, at least my kids, I teach grade 3, 4, so they can be a bit slow typing and stuff like that. So I think it added to the experience, but yeah, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect solution.
And have you screen shared your Minecraft to the kids, so the kids who can't get in are seeing that and working with you?
Yes, they can see, yeah.
So that's a good alternative if kids can't get on. If you've got another communication channel running, that they can you can screen share what you've got.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So it's a nice way around it, I suppose. I've had some very disappointed students who have been really looking forward to Wednesday afternoon. We get to play Minecraft together, and then just it hasn't worked out. So it hasn't appeased everyone, but it's something like they feel like they can contribute, I suppose, a little bit by at least watching and talking, and yeah, all that sort of stuff. I'm sorry to interrupt. We're going to need to go. We have a Digitech meeting, so me and Matthew will just head out. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for being great contributors.
All right. Thank you for.
No worries. Cheers. Bye.
A new activity has actually popped up, Brian, in the last couple of weeks that I've learned about for that offline experience. Obviously, we always talk about the importance of the in-world game experience as well as the out-of-world game experience. And SharePoint Spaces. I don't know if you know much about SharePoint Spaces and the virtual space that can be created. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's still in preview mode. I'm just going to share my screen in. Yeah. So Andrew Bowser, who is a STEM chair officer in New South Wales Department of Education, he was the one that told me about it. And so this is actually his space that I'm sharing. And basically you can go into a SharePoint site and you have to go into the settings. I'll send instructions for it. But you go in and you can then turn on spaces in your SharePoint site. And you basically, if you've ever used the Windows mixed reality where you land in the clifftop house. So the idea is, right, that you could create a virtual learning space. And so it's literally a platform on which you can build a virtual space. And you can change the background. You can click this little plus button and add in 360 images, video, 3D objects. So exporting those models out of Minecraft and getting some kids to do that and then get the other kids to use those models to build this space would be really cool. You can insert files, all sorts of stuff. And so he built, and then just to be, also because it's a SharePoint page, it then actually plugs into Teams as well. So this is a SharePoint space that was built with a whole heap of models that were exported out of Minecraft Education Edition. And it's, signs to talk about. By clicking on the home, you'll hear so each object you add in, you can actually add a sound over the top of it. So if I now click on that, I can't remember if I shared my system audio or not, but that will then, hello. Whoa, cool stuff's happening. You can add all this interactivity with sound and video and as well as the 3D models. So yeah, I think it's got some really cool potential for creating virtual worlds inside a browser. But then in the bottom right-hand corner, I don't actually have my headset connected to this device. But if you've got a Windows mixed reality headset connected, you pop that on, click the button, and then you're in the world. And it's easy.
So you could get kids to create components of this, models that have been exported to build the world. So everyone could independently, single player, develop parts of it, export it and bring it in. And then everyone can be in the virtual space.
And
so this says, so cool.
It's so mad. And so you exit to another space. So I don't even know where this goes. Probably another like SharePoint space thing. Hang tight, we're loading this. Yeah, there we go. And now I'm going to another world. And it's literally just another SharePoint page, SharePoint Spaces page that's being created. So that's just a blank canvas ready to start editing. And then when you need to edit, you head into the SharePoint view and click the little plus button. You're off and away and creating. My brain exploded with ideas when Andrew showed me that the other day. So yeah, I'll find all the information for SharePoint Spaces and how you can get those turned on, because it is in preview mode. Yeah, it's so good.
That would be actually an easier way to build, if you were trying to do that to or through your school type activity, an easier way of recreating that, because you wouldn't have to do it within Minecraft. That can be a little bit harder for kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you could add the real objects and things as well.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen Reed did a session the other night with some fantastic educators from Tunisia and Greece and Egypt, and he was talking about his city in a box idea, which is Minecraft with a bounded box. Now what happens is, in that box, say you're going to study Greece, the kids have done their research, they decide what are the key elements of architecture, culture, language, arts, whatever, that represent Greece. And each group of kids brings an item into the box world of Minecraft. But you could model that, each of those items in Minecraft, and then bring them into the SharePoint space and build that representation of what's important to Greek people. Do you know what I mean? It's a conceptual representation. It's not a realistic, this is, a city or whatever, but it's representing a culture.
Yeah, and it tells that story. Like the kids can then sequence the learning that a person or a teacher has as they move around that virtual space to click. That's the product. But yes, they're using Minecraft as a tool to create content, but the actual product that they create is the SharePoint site. Page, space, whatever it's called. Oh my gosh, we name things so stupidly at Microsoft.
But that's awesome. That is really awesome.
It's unreal, hey. So it's still in preview mode. I have no idea which part of the Microsoft organization, obviously SharePoint, but I don't know how invested they are in making it, happen. I'm always scared when I see, preview in brackets next to something. I'm scared it won't last forever. But I really hope it does, because I think that is really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. But who do you have to be to get access to that?
So if I share the link, export SharePoint Spaces, and that's it seems to be the homepage for SharePoint Spaces. And at the bottom, you apply to join the preview. So if you're in an independent school, it's a lot easier because you can send that off to your IT department and request access. I've had it turned on in New South Wales Department of Education. Well, I didn't. Andrew Bowser got it turned on. I don't know how, without having 74 meetings, but he did. So it's which state and sector are you in?
Independent. I'm in the IT department as well as teaching, so I can just get it turned on.
Yeah, great. So I've got a demo Office 365 environment. I literally just filled out the form, and then I went in the next day, and I'll show you again, because this is being recorded, so you'll be able to check it out later. I just had to go into the SharePoint view of I did it from Teams, but you could just do it as a standalone SharePoint site as well. I had to go into the settings. There's probably an easier way to do it, but I like to do things the hard way. So you do need to have that ownership of the SharePoint site. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. That should take longer to load. As I turn around, there's a child on the computer also watching a phone on YouTube. So there's probably two other children in the house doing the same thing. So I go into site information and view all. Once it's done though, right? So it's really easy. And then I go to manage site features, and you've got all these things you can activate. And one of them, once you fill out the form, so the other day I came in and Spaces preview wasn't there, but after I filled out that form, maybe 3 days ago, it was now available. So I've activated it. I don't know if it's for the whole tenant or if it's just for the site. I think it might be just for the site. And then after that's activated, it's literally as easy as creating all the other SharePoint content, is in that you're on the home page and you just click new, and then you get the option to create a space. And then it's like building a normal SharePoint site. So you give it a name, more Minecrafted. Oops, a daisy. And you can choose like the what do they call it? The structure. So it's just going to be a plain terrace rather than have the roofy stuff on it. I can't believe how easy it is. It's the easiest Microsoft product I've ever used in my life. And it's VR. Like, you're making VR worlds so easily.
That's
So
awesome.
how easy would that be to teach kids in primary school about VR?
So then on your space design, you can actually get like 360 cameras and stuff, because you can make that background. So where I can see ocean and mountains and stuff, I can actually change that background to be a custom 360 file. So you could do 360 recordings in your Minecraft world. My brain was exploding with the awesomeness of opportunities.
Yeah, and then if you were doing real world stuff, you'd use that. I had a look at the 360 camera that TFL are using.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called now, but anyway, that looked pretty cool too.
Yeah, Lawrence Dirk's actually, it's a Kodak one, isn't it? It's
I
this one.
can't
It's got
remember.
a dome on top, and then
Yeah.
you attach. Yeah, weirdly enough, I think that's a Kodak camera. Maybe not. Maybe my brain's broken. I don't know. But yeah, you could use that to create
Mine's
the
broken,
school world and all sorts of stuff. And then it's literally just a matter of, once you've created the space, you start adding in your 3D objects. So that's where students could then, export them out of Minecraft. But then you can also just come in and go to the good old 3D catalog if you did need to demo it quickly. And there's actually Minecraft ones in here too. So you can intersperse it with Minecraft building, as well as all the other 3D
All the
stuff
other
out
stuff,
of 3D
yeah.
paint and all sorts of stuff. Like I said, my mind I had to stop playing, because it was too overwhelming with the awesomeness of what schools and teachers could do. Yeah, so yeah, there you go. There's something to go play with and request via the exploresharepointspaces.com. It's really good.
So do you want to play with it and come and do a thing for ICT Educators New South Wales on it?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'll be in contact.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I also don't know when Microsoft gives me all these devices and I can't find my 3D headset. So I actually want to jump in and see what that experience looks like. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really nice to end on a really positive note, to have, something really exciting to do, instead of, because troubleshooting is always about what you can't do. It's lovely to end the call on what we could try and do, because that's really awesome. It could get around the whole multiplayer remote thing in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah, because you would give everybody a task to do, and then it's got kind of that other dimension of collaboration, that you do something individually and bring it together. I really like that idea.
Learning experience too, because you're saying build something, but then attach an audio file that explains why the group did whatever they did, or link off to a PDF document that was the scaled map for you building this building, or whatever it is. It just adds that deeper learning that goes beyond good old engagement.
Yeah.
However, it would be hard to get excited by it, and then they took it away, though, wouldn't it?
I have a little to-do list. I'm actually going to seek out the relevant Microsoft people. Love when I just contact somewhat important people via Teams chat. And I'm going to find out who's responsible and get some sort of reassurance from them that it's not going away.
Yeah, tell them everyone you show it to is massively excited, because that really is exciting. And the simplicity that you just showed is like mind-blowing.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Even primary school could do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Who knew SharePoint was
and you know what? You know what the other thing you could do with that is all those projects that you get kids to do of solving problems in community, and they can't code and they can't build apps yet because they don't have that skill level, and they get frustrated with that. That is something they could say, I want to show what I'm thinking, and here are all my objects, and I could throw it in there, and then I could create what I'm trying to explain to whether it's in the Young ICT Explorers competitions or wherever it is, just like classrooms and everything. Yeah, I understand what your mind's doing, because mine's gone off on a 300-minute tangent at the moment. and I'm not usually we're a Mac school, and Microsoft Office can frustrate the life out of me, but Minecraft I love, and but this is actually something I would go, yeah, I'd actually use this in my classroom.
Yeah, I agree. I need to explore it more, make sure it's going to stay, and then start building some little projects for schools and people like yourself to make some cool learning stuff.
Demos. Yeah.
And given multiplayer's not reliably there yet, from a remote context anyway, it's a really fantastic, mind-blowing alternative. Even in school, it's certainly kids can be independently working anywhere on whatever without the multiplayer connectivity.
And across grade tasks, like different kids in the stage or across the school contributing different things to it, just adds to that. I mean, you can do that in Minecraft as well, but it's
well, the fact that you can bring in items from other environments, that's cool too. Mixing Minecraft with other things is just now my head's gone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We'll leave and we'll digest, and we'll come back with some questions.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You know the bee stuff they brought out last year, sort of like August, September, and you were supposed to be able to pollinate with bees and all those kind of things within Minecraft. Now, admittedly, I haven't picked this up since last year. So the bees would fly around and you'd go to the hive and stuff. But when I got it, when I was trying to do it and take it into my stage 2 unit of work on pollination and bees and stuff, because I was so excited about it, and then I couldn't do what I wanted to do in the classroom. And it's only just come back to my memory space right now, so I haven't investigated. But do you know if you can get the kids to go in there and harvest honey and grow a hive from scratch, that kind of stuff?
Oscar, yes. Can you pollinate bees in Minecraft?
Education version. You can do it outside.
Education edition? Okay. Well, in the education.minecraft.net, there's a lesson for pollinating, building a pollinator garden.
We tried that lesson last year. Some bits worked, some bits didn't, and like I said, I haven't tried again because it doesn't come up for next semester.
Susie Tinker and find out whether it's a feature that'll get a quick answer. Bees pollination in MEE, Susie. I think it's public holiday. Is it public holiday in America today or something? Or was that yesterday?
Is it Memorial Day? No, it's Wednesday day. No.
No, they're back today. They were here yesterday. They had Monday off. I'll flicker a message, but probably won't get back to me from the next day. Cool. All right, ladies, I have to unfortunately go and spend
so much for coming.
Content. That's right. Fun. Invite me again.
No.
Oh my gosh.
See you all. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. So, Bron,